Gwendolyn Sterk from Sterk Family Law, and we're privileged today to have Steve Balich with us. Welcome to our office.
Well, thanks, Gwen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks so much. Steve is the county board member for District 7, and that covers, if I'm correct, Homer Glen, the entire city of Lockport, and then I-80 north of the New Lenox area. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that kind of gives us the structure. So those are certainly within our clientele and who we represent in court oftentimes.
Correct.
So we are here because, first of all, I got to tell you is that you're hearing a lot. It's about the county board, and people don't know what the county board is. So first of all, give us a general definition of what a county board does.
Well, start off, when you're elected to a district like I am in District 7.
All right.
Well, I represent the district, but I also vote for the whole county. So every vote I take is a vote that affects everybody in Will County.
So the ramifications are countywide.
Right.
How many seats are there for county board members?
There's 26 seats.
And how many districts are there?
And there's 13 districts.
So there's 2 then from every district for a total of 26.
Yes.
And isn't Will County somewhat unique because you have an executive structure for your board?
There's only 2 counties that have that structure.
2 counties in Illinois?
In Illinois.
Okay. And what counties are those? Will and who else?
DuPage.
And DuPage. And so by that you have a county executive. And can you tell us what the county executive is responsible for?
Well, Larry Walsh is our current county executive, and he's responsible for the day-to-day operations.
Okay.
And he also is responsible for hiring and firing.
Okay.
So he works in tandem with the county board on a lot of things, because it's advice and consent for quite a few items. So he'll do an appointment, and he'll ask for us to approve an appointment. If we vote no, then he has to either bring it back again or find somebody else.
Got it.
So a lot of that has where everybody's working together.
And then tell me, you don't take everything just to the floor for a vote, meaning that you have monthly meetings, I assume?
Yes.
And before something gets to the floor to vote on, does the county board then divide it up into different committees?
Absolutely. There's various committees. So to give you an idea, if we're talking about taxes, well, if anything to do with taxes goes to the finance committee.
Okay.
So every year we have a budget, and we have numerous budget workshops so that everybody's having input.
So everybody, meaning all the county board members, or anybody outside the community?
Anybody from the county board that wants to go to the workshop is invited to go.
Okay.
And then besides the workshop, then you have the finance committee, which meets and talks about the workshop.
How many members are on the committee?
There's I'm not sure about finance. Some of them are 9 and some of them are 7.
Okay, so of the 26 board members, it's either 7 or 9 on the various committees.
Right.
And so the committees can range from finance to judicial, right?
Right.
Executive, legislative, and then there's one for public health.
Yeah.
And then I think there's one
Public
Public
Works.
Works and then land use, correct?
Correct.
And so do the board members then hold more than one committee membership, or are they generally assigned 1 or 2?
Well, at one point I was on, including the Forest Preserve, because we're also all Forest Preserve commissioners.
Okay.
At one point I was on 8 committees.
Oh, wow. But generally
But generally
now...
they're on 1 or 2. And it depends on how the speaker breaks it down.
Okay.
And the way it was broke down after the last election, the group, the Republican group, has 2 people on a committee.
Got it. And what committee are you on now?
I'm on land use, so I'm only on 1 committee as opposed to a bunch like
And what does the land use committee do?
Now, land use is like one of the most important committees in the county, because what we do is we have to go over rules and regulations for zoning, and then building codes, and then setbacks and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So we're always busy, and it's always a contentious type of thing, because obviously if you own a home and you're coming and saying, you know what, I want to build another home next to my house, but I need another 10 feet.
Right.
Well, you got to get a variance. Well, to get that variance, you go to the land use committee.
Got it.
And now we look at it, and well, before it gets to us, it goes to I can't say the word right. The land use and the zoning commission.
Okay.
PBC.
All right, and then it goes to you after that if it's still not agreed.
And then we either agree with them or disagree with them. But it's real important, because people, when they come to us, it's like, you own the house, you should be able to do what you want to your property, but at the same time, that also affects the people that live next door.
Okay,
down
but
the
wait a minute,
street.
what if you live like in Lockport proper? Do you go to then Lockport town in order to do this, or do you
If
have to
you're
go
in
to
the
the
city
county?
of Lockport, you'll go to the municipality, but if
Right.
you're an unincorporated Lockport.
Then you'll go through the
you're
county board. Got it. Okay, so now the county board then wants to have a vote on a particular issue.
Correct.
Name an issue that you might be bringing to the floor.
All right, I'm bringing an issue this month
Okay.
for support of the Second Amendment.
Okay,
Now, what I did is I sent an email to our speaker, Denise Winfrey,
okay,
and asked her to put this on an agenda item with a committee, which she put on the Judicial Committee.
now, does the speaker have the ability to choose what committee it's gonna go
Yes.
to? Okay, so the first step is you're proposing some type of legislation or some type of an action. And then it goes to the speaker, they bring it to the committee. What happens at committee then?
Now, at the committee, we're going to be discussing it. Now, that issue is going to be a charged issue because there's a lot of feelings on both sides of the issue.
Okay,
And it's not based on party or any of that stuff.
Okay.
It's just, there's a lot of feelings about it.
okay,
So now, once we have that discussion, the committee will vote whether or not to move it to the full board for a vote.
okay, I have a question. You're not, what committee did it go to again?
Judicial,
But you're not on the judicial
I'm
committee.
not on it.
So how do you get to go speak at the committee?
because I'm a county board member, so
Okay.
I go there and I'm pushing it forward. So I'll be the person speaking to the committee, but I can't vote on that committee.
Okay, well, let's just say there's resident A, B, and C, and they all have a different position on this proposed
They all can
legislation.
come and speak.
They all can come to speak in the committees.
Correct.
And so, do they have to get themselves on an agenda, or do they
No,
simply show up at
just-
the meeting?
They show up and they sign up to speak at the open forum.
Okay, now let's say that somebody heard about your bill, but they don't know what a committee it's assigned to. Where do they go to get the information
It'll
about
be
what to do?
It's posted.
Okay.
And so, they'll be able to find out like that. And then in my case, I'll make sure people know because I'll put it out on social media.
Understand that, but if you didn't know, you would
You
find
would-
it through a posting
yeah.
and then you go. So let's say it goes to committee and the bill is approved at the committee level. What happens next? Because we're gonna take
Then
different
it gets
scenarios.
approved and it goes to the full board on
Okay.
the third Thursday of the month for a vote.
Okay,
And then we have, at that point, if it's not a hot topic, it just usually gets voted yes or no and.
And then it's done.
But something like this, there'll be a lot of debate on the floor because
Okay.
there's a lot of people on both sides of the issue.
Okay.
So the debate will be kind of back
and forth,
bantering
right.
back and forth. But at one point or other, then the full board will vote on it.
okay, so let's go back to the committee portion though. So the committee said yes, it goes to the full board. What if the committee says no? Let's take that
Now, if
scenario.
the committee says no, then I say to the committee, this is too much of an important item.
Okay.
That 7 people shouldn't make that decision.
Okay,
And I request that it goes to the full board for a vote.
so you're asking the committee members now, even though you voted no on this, it's still so important of an issue, it's an important issue, so bring it to
Right.
the full board. So
Correct.
then they decide whether or not it goes to the full board irrespective of their position,
Right.
is that correct?
Correct.
And they can say yes or no to that?
They could say yes or no, or they could say that whoever the chairman would be, in this case Tyler Markham,
Okay.
he could say, well, you know what, I'll just move it to the executive committee, because they
Okay.
assign everything to the full board anyway.
Okay,
And then move it to that committee and let them make a decision whether it goes forward.
okay, so I'm seeing 3 options. One is that they could say yes, it goes to a full board vote. They said no, then you ask the committee to send it to the full board, or the next step is that the chairperson then sends it to the executive committee.
Correct.
And then the executive committee can determine whether or not it goes to full board vote
Correct.
or not. Now, what if the executive committee at that point says, no, I don't want to send it to full
Well,
board
then it
meeting?
becomes incumbent upon me to
Okay.
decide if I want to keep pushing the item, which I would. So then I stand up in comments by the commissioners and say, I have an important issue a resolution that I wrote.
Okay.
And I presented it at the judicial committee and they turned it down and didn't move to the executive committee. It didn't move anywhere. Or the executive committee turned it down.
Got it?
And then I say, this is something that's so important that it should be voted by the whole board.
And then who makes the decision at that point when
And-
you're making the comments at the larger meeting?
Nobody.
Okay.
Because it's not on the agenda, therefore it
Okay.
can't be voted on.
All right.
So I'm just making a statement. And so then after I make that statement, the meeting ends, and then I talk to our minority leader,
Okay.
Mike Frizzalone.
Okay.
And I tell him, I want this thing to move forward. What do we
Okay.
got to do? Then he'll talk to the leadership of the other side.
Okay.
That's the majority leader from that side, which would be Mark Ferry.
Okay.
And then they would go back and forth and see what happens. Now, they may decide to put it back at the committee again,
Okay.
and then we start all over again. Or they may say, no, it's dead. Well,
Got
if
it.
they say it's dead,
Yeah.
then next month, when we have the next meeting,
You
I
stand up again.
and do it
and you try to
again.
do it until.
And then I just keep doing it until I get a full vote of the board. Now, this could take forever.
Sure.
Going back in time, I did there was a problem with the county doing aerial photos and then
Okay.
giving building code violations based on an aerial photo.
Okay.
So I said, no, this can't be legal.
And so you put it through this process.
We put it through. It took 13 months, and it died. It died in the first committee. Then I brought it back. Then we had a full committee,
Okay.
and then it passed to go for a full vote. Then it failed at the county board level, and I was very upset. So I was planning on doing a referendum,
Okay.
making it illegal. So I went to the clerk's office and got the paperwork that I needed. And then the very next day, the county executive made it a law by signing an executive order.
So pushing through sometimes, and that persistence really works out.
So that's important in this. If your county board person wants to just let everything go, well, then it'll go. But if you keep pushing,
Eventually, something
something
will
will
be addressed.
happen.
Well, this is very good information, because I think that what happens is people don't understand it. And so by getting this education, we really appreciate the opportunity to understand how the board works. And I think the message to everybody today is that they can attend meetings, right?
Anytime. They're
They
all
can
open.
attend the committee meetings as well.
Yeah.
And so people can become actively
And they can
involved.
attend our caucus meetings also.
Very good. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. And thanks, Steve, for coming out.
Thank
Because
you,
I
Gwen.
think it's important to educate the public about this.
God
Thank
bless
you so
you.
much. Take care.